Hello, today I'm talking with Jacquelyn Henson. She's a single mother with two teenage girls. She's been living a healthier lifestyle for the last 3 years, with the last two being vegan, and for the past 6 months, she's been doing a whole food plant-based diet, no oil. Hello, Jacquelyn. Thank you for coming on with me today. Tell me about how your journey started. Oh, and she's lost 125 pounds so far. So tell me about how your journey started.
I started about 3 years ago. I had the father of my children passed away in April 2016. And I realized that, I was 350 pounds, heart disease, and AFib, numerous things. I was an alcoholic. So I just, I had a friend that kind of introduced me to the plant-based diet and trying to get healthier, and just telling me that heart disease is not genetic. It's not something that runs in the family. It's something that you do that causes that. And so I decided at that point that it would be beneficial for me as well as my children to actually get my health better and become in better shape to live longer.
And tell me about how you got started. What were some of the first changes that you made when you decided that you were going to try a plant-based diet and that you were ready to get healthier?
I stopped drinking soda. I used to drink a lot of diet sodas. I would wake up drinking soda. I started drinking a lot of water, half my weight in ounces, which at that time it was a lot of water. A lot of water. I felt like that's all I was doing at first, was drinking water. And then I, took away the meat and cheese. I love cheese, so that was a hard thing to give up. And butter, I couldn't eat butter anymore. And so I started just to do those little things, and before you know it, those little things become bigger, and you feel better, more energy. You don't wake up with your heart racing, and you have all the usual problems that you're used to. You're thinking they're normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and tell me a little bit about what that was like to give up especially the cheese and the butter, and how you were able to stick with it even though it was hard.
Well, so I am a big cheese person, especially not, the processed cheese, that nacho cheese. Oh, I would love that. The Rico cheese on your nachos is like my favorite thing. It was really difficult to give that up, but there's other alternatives. You soak the cashews, you make the cashew cheese, you look for alternatives in ways. You like cookies, well, there's ways to make cookies that you could make them vegan, you could make them healthier. Other options, dates, if you want something that's kind of sweet, or peanut butter, nuts. I just look for different options and know that it's never something that I have to do without. I mean, you might have to eat it in a different form, or but once you start eating right, you really don't have those cravings like that. When you eat a plant-based, kind of the whole foods plant-based diet, it takes away those cravings where you really don't feel like eating a tub of ice cream and the nacho cheese chips.
Yeah, so do you still get those cravings for those things, or have they gone away?
Yeah, I don't get cravings like that. I work in a doctor's office now, and so we always have, food around, and they'll have, the tacos, the nachos, I don't get cravings like that. That to me, now, every now and then, if I want something sweet, I'll have, apples with peanut butter, or, I change it for eat mangoes or something that has a kind of a sweet taste to it, but it's not gonna, be really bad for me, because when I put that into my body, I spent this long getting my body healthy and, my digestion better, that I don't want to mess it up by eating something that's not good, because then I reap those, repercussions for 3 or 4 days trying to get my body back to normal.
Mm-hmm. And tell me a little bit more about kind of what your biggest struggles were.
My biggest struggles is, my family, because in my family, when they invite you over, they cook this big meal and everything is cooked with pork. And so, I mean, everything. They make beans, it's got pork. They make, collard greens, it's got pork. Everything, they make pork ribs. Everything is centered around pork. And so that, was a big challenge to me, is to be able to have to explain to my family that I'm vegan, I'm not going to eat that. I mean, to the point that I would go over to my family's house and I would say I'm vegan, and they would say, oh, well, we have some chicken. And I'm like, okay, but that's still a meat. I'm not eating that. Or, they would understand I don't eat meat, but then they would have vegetables with the cheese sauce, or they would buy out with chicken strips and,
Yeah.
And so that was the biggest thing. And it's still, a challenge. Now what I do is they know that when I go over there, I'm just there to visit, that I'm not going to eat, because they're not going to understand. My family's, dad is a lot older, and even though he, says he understands, they don't understand that I still don't eat. They're just saying, oh, well, just scoop out the beans, even though there's meat in it. You're like, no, I'm not eating that, because it's cooked in that meat, and so, but that's okay, because I can still love them, but I just don't have to eat there, and so I think that, to me, the family thing has been the, biggest thing.
I think that the family thing is one of the biggest issues for most people. I talk to so many people trying to adopt this lifestyle, and it really is hard for them. I know for me too, I had a really hard time with my family, they had a hard time accepting our new lifestyle. It took them a really long time to understand, why we were eating the way we were, and that we no longer wanted to eat those things. And it took a lot of accepting on my part too. It took a lot of forgiving and accepting and understanding that, they are who they are, and they're not going to change, and that that's okay, and that they can have their lifestyle and I can have mine. Do you have any suggestions or tips or advice for other people out there that are starting this lifestyle, who have similar family situations, families that don't know and don't really want to know or understand this way of eating?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I've done is that, to realize that, just like you said, some people do want to be educated. They do want to know, exactly what you eat, how do I go about it? And other people don't want to be educated. They don't want to know. So to me, that is okay. I can accept them. I can, you just have to take your time with family. I mean, to me, it's, been 3 years. So they know by now that I'm not changing. Sometimes family think, oh, she's just going to do this for, 6 months, couple of months, and, she'll be over it. And, once they see that you're sticking to it, you're not going to change. This is how you're going to be. And the family will come along, they'll accept you, but it's going to take time. So that's really what I do is, it's kind of like the, Finding Nemo, when Dory says, just keep swimming. And that is really what I do. Just keep going. And eventually it does get better.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So did you try any other ways of losing weight or getting healthy before turning to a plant-based diet?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for years, I would count calories. Then at one point, I think, in 2013, I had 3 blood clots in my lungs where I nearly died. And so, after that point, I really tried to lose weight. Then I only lost like 20 pounds. I mean, it was very difficult, the counting calories and only, trying to to restrict yourself. And so I found with the plant-based diet, I'm really not restricted, and I don't have to eat just a little bit. I mean, honestly, I have, my portion sizes are really good, and I, you know, I don't feel like I'm missing anything, to be honest. I never have, and not with this diet. And I'm telling you, people don't. I never count calories. I just eat whatever I want to. I feel full. Now I do exercise. I try to do it 4 to 5 times a week. So, honestly, that I've done the calorie counting, the low carb. To me, that don't work. You always feel like you're missing something. After a couple of days, your body's in shock. That keto diet is so dangerous. This is really the way to go.
And let's talk a little bit more about the exercising. Did you, have you always been exercising throughout your journey, or is that something that you added later on?
Yeah, so at the beginning, I just walked and did kind of easy stuff. I might have did it like every other day. Now I have, revved it up, and I exercise like 4 to 5 days a week. More like classes like the body pump and the biking classes and stuff in that kind of.
And can you tell me a little bit about how, what made this journey different for you? How come this time you were able to stick to it as exercise, where the other diets, the low carb diets, the calorie counting and stuff, didn't work? Was it, what was the biggest difference?
For me, this works for me. The low carb, I'm just not good with those kind of diets. Honestly, I really believe that people need to do what works for them. And for me, this worked for me because I was not a big meat eater ever. And so to me, this is easier. I am a vegetable person. I've always loved salads. I was a, 5-year-old eating cauliflower and peanut butter. So, to me, that's why this works for me. Now, I never was a fruit person. So that is something that I'm kind of getting used to now is, more fruits but your tastes change after you get a little older. And so this diet it's not really a diet for me. It's kind of, what I'm going to do for life. And it just, I don't know if this will work for everybody, but this is the way it should be. We are meant to be plant-based. We're not meant to be meat eaters. Our digestion system is not the same as if you look at like a dog's digestive system, it's very short. So they're able to digest that meat. Our digestive system is very long. It's hard to digest, meat. And that's why we always have issues and problems. And if I know my friend told me, just give it 1 month. And after the 1 month, you can go back to eating whatever way you want to eat. And after that month, I didn't want to go back. I felt so much better that's really why I stayed with it. So I just tell people, give it 1 month. What's 1 month of your life?
Yeah, that's really, really, really awesome advice. That's really good advice. That's how me and my husband started too. We decided we were just going to try it for 1 month. And we went vegan for 1 month and never looked back. We're like, this is the best lifestyle ever.
Yeah, that's what my friend said. He said, just do this. And I used to have like I would have stomach issues, heartburn all the time. And he said to me, I had racing heart. I thought I had AFib for years, racing heart. And he said, he just started talking to me and he said, because I said, well, heart disease, my grandfather had it, my dad had it. And he's like, yeah, that doesn't run in your family. It's the choices that people make. He's like, you don't have to keep making those choices. Why can't you just do this for 1 month? And then we did that. And then, we tried not drinking for a certain amount of time. And honestly, I mean, in this amount of time, I've probably never been this healthy ever. Because when I was a kid, we grew up with like meat and potatoes on the, stove, and we had 2 or 3 plates, and,
Hmm.
Yeah, when I was in 12th grade in high school, I was definitely bigger than I am now and not as healthy. And, really, I feel like better than I did when I was 20,
That's awesome. And I think you bring up a really good point about the heart disease, because I hear that all the time too. Oh, it's hereditary. My parents had heart disease, so I have it. And you're right. It's not true. It's not hereditary at all. It's lifestyle choices.
Yep.
Um,
It's
I want to know a
like,
little bit about your daughters. Um, how how have they been with your journey and your transformation and the changes you've made?
well, I educated them as well. It's pretty difficult because they're going to school
Hmm.
and they have friends. And so the good thing is I've educated them, but their life is their choice. They don't have to eat like this.
Hmm.
I mean, and if I buy groceries and they feel like they want some meat, well, you know what? I can buy that meat. Now they choose not to do that, but that is after at first they did eat meat. I mean, they're going to protest like everybody else. Oh, I want the ice cream. I want the cheese. And I really try to explain how our body works, that when you eat certain things, disease is caused by the mucus in your body, basically. And all these things create this extra mucus, and that's why people get sick and have issues. But if you can do something when you're young to stop that, when you do get my age, you won't have any problems. They lost their father at a very young age. I mean, he was in his 50s and like 52. And the reason is because, he drank. I mean, we were alcoholics together. Alcohol is poisonous, and as well as all this dairy that people eat. And so to them, once I educated them, it's a lot easier now for them to say, no, I don't eat that. I don't do that. And we, are able to take our lunches and kind of work around it like that.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. And tell me a little bit about what are your kind of health plans and goals for yourself for the next year?
Well, I want to definitely continue on the, whole foods, plant-based, it's no oil. And, sometimes that's difficult because, and I'm trying not to do soy now. And so I found out that a lot of bread has soy. And so the the oil thing sometimes is difficult to stay away from, but I really want to be more disciplined in that and more disciplined in my workout routine. And I still on a few medications that I would really like to get off of and go to a holistic doctor and be able to not take any medications for the rest of my life.
And do you have any advice or tips or suggestions for those that are just getting started with this lifestyle and this way of eating?
The biggest tip and the thing I remember is my motto is I will not be defeated. Nothing will defeat me, because many times we have a defeatist attitude. I can't do this. This is too hard. We give up and we go have those fries. Well, it's okay, because tomorrow's a new day. Get up and do it again. And you just keep swimming. Just remember that.
Thank you so much. I'm sure that this will be so helpful for so many people. And you really are a very big inspiration for others.
Well, thank you.